Aunt Mickey is telling you that you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive wrestling news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, the only audio experience on the web today, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Trail One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, 501, that guy, James J, with the leader of Squad Squad, number 502, Kaliko Yachts, who's not here, but who is 503, the American Scooter Dust.
Yes, it is me, the first man to ever successfully sell a chicken to a deaf man.
And it was a great week for Wrestling Lit as we interviewed Victor Pritchard on Tuesday and Mickey Knuckles on Wednesday. We didn't get to talk about it last Saturday about Mickey, but oh my god, what an interview with a legend to do it that's been killing it on the independents right now. No, Scooter?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And if you want to find out which interview Chris Jericho came twice for, you'll have to listen to both of them.
Without a doubt. And obviously, Victor Pritchard, a part of Gemini Sports Pod and LA Fan Fest, which is going on as we speak. So, if you don't already have tickets, get your ass down there, buy something. And obviously go in the archives and listen to the interview. On next Wednesday, we got our first second generation wrestler, son of Irish. And a great interview. We talk his career in love for wrestling right now, his father Irish, his tag team partner, video games, South Park, and a whole lot more. Definitely an interview you don't want to miss.
His tag team partner is video games.
No, his tag team partner and video. And more information on who will be interviewing on Tuesday when that information becomes available to us. Check out our Twitter handle at WrestlingWithE for who that might be. Alright, now that we're done putting ourselves over, it's a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. And I don't think any bigger news than Roman Reigns is going to be fighting Logan Paul at the Crown Jewel event in December. December or November?
November 5th.
November 5th. I'd say that put asses in seats, but it's Saudi Arabia, so they're kind of mandatory to be there, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I get wanting to, finish up the Saudi Arabia contract as fast as possible, but geez, you have to punish them with Logan Paul. Is the plan to leave him there? Like, are they all gonna, the entire roster, or at least the ones that go, are they just gonna, not tell him when they're leaving, or tell him the wrong time?
Jake will pick him up when he goes there for his next fight.
I mean, could WWE be launching a new series where the world is Logan Paul, parentheses, and does anybody care? Like, okay, I get the attraction of it, Um, but
Does anybody legitimately believe Logan Paul could actually beat Roman Reigns, or are we literally just feeding Roman things he doesn't want to eat until we get to WrestleMania?
God, well, I think this is a slow burn on a much bigger story. Um, in fact, I given what went down on SmackDown last night, and let's not forget we're not even past Extreme Rules yet. Um, I believe the intent of Reigns and Logan Paul is I believe they will be captaining War Games teams.
And I mean, honestly, does anybody want to see Logan Paul in a rivalry longer than what it is with Roman right now?
I mean, I expect Logan to be put down in less than 5 minutes, and I think that's being generous. Um, now,
I think
it
I mean, we'll talk about this when we actually get there, but I think they're not going to make this like a 5 minute squash match. I think that they're going to make this go at least 15 minutes.
oh
Where,
no, absolutely not.
and
No, there is no way they're going to give Logan Paul a a fifth a a guy who's wrestled only 2 matches. It one, it does not make sense from a logistics perspective, and it does not make uh, sense from an experience perspective. He has to get squashed.
and you know, even though the regime has changed, when has WWE ever made things make sense?
Here's the thing. Given this regime change, and based on whether or not he'll take some, based on whether or not he'll put college football on hold, I believe we may get Roman and Pat McAfee as well.
I don't want to see Pat get squashed by Roman.
No, Pat would not get squashed though.
I mean, he's obviously, it's going to be a match, but I don't want to see Pat lose to Roman. And I really don't see the rivalry there because Pat has always loved the bloodline. He's always been a supporter of Roman.
But you know, when now that if Triple H wants you to do something, hell, you're happy to do it.
Because it's not coming from Vince.
Exactly.
Hmm. Well, since we're talking about Extreme Rules and Survivor Series, um, at the Extreme Rules event, there's going to be a fight pit match, which has been, an exclusive of NXT at this point. I believe the last one was Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. And we had Ciampa versus, I can't remember. Uh,
Uh, was
I think it was that. I think
was
it was
Bev
Ciampa and
was
Thatcher.
yes. I was Dream and Cole a fight pit, or was that like was that a backlot brawl?
Backlash Ball. Was that even Adam Cole? Dream? It had to have been Adam because the Undisputed Era was there.
Uh, and apparently, yeah, it's Riddle and Thatcher. Uh,
What
yes,
I'm,
yes.
what I'm getting
Oh,
at.
yeah. This is it's it's NXT's Octagon basically.
Right. And
I
this,
I think Thatcher and Ciampa was not a fight pit. Uh, that was the hell. It was in a ring of cars.
well, anyway, and at the Survivor Series, we're getting War Games matches. Um, I'm not exactly sure how to feel about these stipulations making uh, their main card debut, their main roster debut. Um, it just kind of seems like Triple H is bringing NXT to WWE and making NXT a less interesting impact.
Mm, well, I'm not sure if you've read about the new NXT doctrine.
Yes, and we will get to that. But
Um,
what are your thoughts on them bringing these match stipulations onto the main roster?
I mean, we've heard rumors about war games at Survivor Series ever since you know since WCW was bought out,
Right.
and we all thought war games would be the perfect place for Survivor Series would be the perfect place for war games. Um, that being said, the idea of it being relegated to NXT takes away a little bit of the luster associated with all the War Games matches that came before it. But then again, WCW, at least back in the NWA days, when they were going through what they call War Games season, Starcade season really, they would be doing War Games matches every night
Oh God.
for like a string of 7 days. And these were house shows, basically.
That sounds like hell.
Um, so the idea of it being brought to a actual WWE premium live event, you have to think that all the stops are going to be pulled out. The fact that Survivor Series is in Boston, it's in Massachusetts, and West Newbury is there. I mean, if they don't relegate, this is the one time they shouldn't relegate it to Raw versus SmackDown.
God, I hope it's not Raw vs. SmackDown again.
Because given the fact that you have Crown Jewel 3 weeks before it, literally Thanksgiving weekend, you don't really have time to build an effective brand warfare storyline, especially when, nobody really sticks to one brand anymore.
Yeah, it seems like people from SmackDown are showing up on Raw, and Raw people are showing up on SmackDown without really any rationalization as to why they are there.
Now, given that the Bloodline has become 5 people, I mean, clearly that's the way to go.
But the War Games have been 4 people, not 5 people.
Yes, but traditionally they were 5-on-5.
But, I mean, are you really gonna risk getting Roman Hart before WrestleMania in a match like that when you have, the second, the third Russo brother and Sami Zayn that could clearly do it without any repercussions?
Here's the thing: if they're gonna do War Games right, they're gonna do it with the roofed cage.
So you don't think it's gonna be the one that we saw in NXT?
No, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a fresh coat of paint thrown on Hell in a Cell and just divided in two. Um, the other, uh, the other thing is that I'm potentially worried it may be used as a throwaway match. Uh, the the Brawling Brutes and uh, New Day against uh, Imperium and the Usos.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because the New Day and the Usos are going to feud as the Usos attempt to break their record.
Like we haven't seen the New Day versus the Usos before.
Yeah.
This is the first time they'll be wrestling ever.
Um, the other idea, and the last idea for board games that went into my mind is, what if it wasn't a team match?
Singles.
Yes.
But that's just the Elimination Chamber.
Mm, yeah, that's the thing, but there's gotta be a way to make it different enough. Like,
What do you think they're doing more games at Survivor Series? Is there just a lack of interest in Survivor Series now? Because God forbid that they've been beating the brand versus brand thing to death?
uh,
Or is this what Triple H flexing? Is this
oh yeah, this is happening simply because
Triple
Vince
H
is
flexing?
gone.
Yeah. And I mean, the only they said that there's going to be 2, so obviously one that makes sense is having the bloodline in them, and the second one maybe have Rollins and Riddle captain teams? Because obviously we're not getting traditional Survivor Series matches.
Yeah.
Which kind of breaks my heart.
I'm assuming the Judgment Day isn't the one for Raw, and it includes Rhea. I think we may end up seeing intergender.
No, but I mean they have 4 people. No, what Rhea is for? Yeah.
Unless they're doing Dom and Ray 1-on-1, which I would think they would try to hold off on that until Mania.
Right. I feel like, if they do bring Rhea into the match, she would be the last person to enter the cage.
Yeah.
And the match would probably end quickly thereafter. But, as we go, I suppose we shall see, no?
Yep. I mean, if they do a women's war game,
Damage control.
Damage Control, against Bianca, Asuka, Shotzi, and the fourth person to Damage Control is Tegan Nox.
Ooh. Interesting.
So you put Dakota and Tegan Nox in another War Games match on the same team.
Or we could debut Dakota's sister, North
Janai Kai?
North Dakota.
North Dakota Kai. Or Cobra.
But I feel like that's just a lot. That's a lot of reading to happen.
Well, strike hard, strike fast, no mercy.
Oh, very true. Speaking of striking hard with no mercy, NXT's new way they do things is you got 2 years. You're going to be contracted with them for 2 years, and if you're not quote unquote good enough in the 2 years, they can fire you.
Yes, little clarification. It's starting from the time from when you start in the Performance Center. Not just when when you are on NXT. So I'm assuming they want their talent to at least be match ready in a year and TV ready 18 months to 2 years. They do have the option to not fire talent if they feel they reserve the right to either fire or keep them on this past this 2-year limit.
What do you think about that? I feel like that's maybe being too generous in time to give them 2 years.
See, I really think when the concept of NXT began, that the WWE got it backwards. That it started with a bunch of people, a bunch of, developmentals on main TV competing for a spot on the roster, when it should have been them competing in NXT to win a chance on the roster, win a spot on the roster, and I'm surprised they've never ever done that.
Because I mean,
Where
then NXT would be, I mean, it already is, but less than the main roster. When they were trying to build NXT as the third brand.
but I think they're trying to get across that it can be the third brand and a developmental brand at the same time.
Right.
You know, I always thought the ultimate jackpot prize of NXT should involve winning a main roster contract. You know, the idea is, and this is the story everybody in NXT really is supposed to work at heart, is that they want to get out of NXT.
It's a prison, and they have somebody have to tattoo the specs onto their body in order to get out.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Dexter Lumis already figured that out, so
Oh yeah, he had keys, and he could fit into small crevices.
um, it's
It seems like NXT has gone through so many transitions at this point. I don't think they quite know what NXT is. Because right now it definitely
yeah.
lacks an identity.
Well, given that the last 2 weeks of NXT were taped, while they redesign the Performance Center, which I thought was the Capitol Wrestling Center.
No, not anymore.
Like, but
What would you
I
rate
think
the current NXT stage area set? What were your thoughts on that?
I mean it's an intimate setting, but it's always been an intimate setting.
Right.
You know,
I'm
and
surprised they
I
haven't
think
gone to full sale since things opened up.
uh I I don't think the arena there is open anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
Um but the stage design of NXT is not by, oh, it looks good. There's a purpose to its aesthetic. It's to make the fans feel closer because the NXT talent is talent that is trying to prove their worth. While Raw and SmackDown, the idea is to make you feel as if you're part of a global experience.
I don't know. I kind of felt like if I was in that the current setting of NXT, I kind of feel like I would be going to see Shamu and not Gigi Dolan.
I mean, either way, you're bound to get wet in the first two rows. uh, God, if Gigi actually knew me, she'd fucking kill me.
But
she She probably sent Nash to exterminate me.
Oh.
Hey, and for anybody who's pissed off at that joke, I can say it.
But no, watching the Worlds Collide show, they had they they pretended like there were people on the CGI the screens to pretend like there was more people in the crowd than there actually was. I hate the clear plexiglass barricade, and it just seems like an eggshell. And it it's like the most unhip uh, nightclub in the world, in my opinion, of how it looks.
Oh, that's why it's being redesigned again.
And hopefully it doesn't look like shit.
And hopefully they take the time to move out of Florida. At least, you know?
I mean,
Like, yeah, I mean, the idea of having, NXT house shows that are only in Florida,
no offense, Scooter. Who's gonna pay to see these people?
you'd be surprised.
I mean, obviously, Breaker and Mandy, but I don't see people showing out hundreds of dollars to see the guy that's a mobster or
But they, if they were to do it, NXT tickets would not be as expensive as Raw and SmackDown tickets and pay-per-view tickets.
oh, for sure not. But I mean, like front row, $100.
But NXT could recapture, the early days of Monday Night Raw, when Raw was
Take it
only
up to
ever
Manhattan Center?
in the Manhattan Center or the Hammerstein Ballroom or the Poughkeepsie Civic Center.
I feel like that would be really expensive. And I mean, in
I
order to rent out those buildings for
I don't mean literally, James. I mean the aesthetic, the environment,
okay,
the presentation, you know, in before 1997, Raw never looked like it was in a grand arena of that had more than 5,000 people in it.
no, you're not wrong about that.
And that's, I think, one of the things that NXT has going for it. It's that intimacy, which is why, again, why NXT Europe instead of NXT Gold Coast, NXT Pacific. Like, you can set up another developmental on the other side of the country. You can expand, and you can bring back some of that old school territory vibe.
Oh,
Yeah, they don't. It's clear now they don't need the European market to get by. They don't, but they want the European market.
I mean, it's WWE. They want all the markets.
Uh, Maybe not Boston market. I mean, they'll
Seriously,
spend
this
a lot.
Boston market is
They'll,
fucking delicious.
they'll spend a lot of time in the bathroom after that.
Which Boston market are you going to? Because the ones that near me are delicious.
There's one right down the block from me, and every time I've eaten there, I've had worse diarrhea than Taco Bell.
Oh God. And that's saying something
Uh,
because Taco Bell.
of course, I do associate Boston market as be with the fact that I ate there while I was coming off a massive pain pill withdrawal. So,
Okay. Speaking of markets, Tony Khan feels that the East Coast is the best market on the world, and New York has the best market alone. And it's he'd even go as far as to say it's the crown jewel. It's the crown jewel of markets. Uh, Obviously that's taking a shot at WWE, but I mean AEW's been in New York the last 3 weeks, while WWE has been and will be in San Jose, Canada, Minnesota. A couple weeks ago they were in Cardiff, Wales, and in like a month they're going to be in Saudi Arabia.
I mean, last week they were in Portland.
Exactly.
Mm.
So, I mean, how could you really say that you're a competition when you won't leave New York for 3 weeks? You're a territory. A, you're not a global
I
competition.
I mean, Buffalo and Albany. Ah, if it's one thing people from New York City hate, it's being lumped in with Buffalo and Albany. Because New York isn't one market, it's two.
Yes.
It's the boroughs in Long Island, and then the rest of New York. And the boroughs in Long Island, even though are the smallest part of the state, are 10 times the size of the market when it comes to wrestling fans. I mean, the last pay per view I ever remember uh, happening in Albany. It was it the 92 Rumble, the Knickerbocker Arena? Was it the 94? No, 94 is Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah, 92. Um,
And it
I
was
can't
in the
remember.
Nissan Coliseum.
I can't remember ever a significant moment in any sport happening in Buffalo. Bills, Sabres, uh, other. Um, so again, Tony Khan is a billionaire's son, playing businessman, playing promoter, playing a businessman.
Correct.
He
And
thinks he knows markets. He don't know jack shit.
I mean, what he comes from Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, you think of Florida, Jacksonville was probably the last one city in Florida that you think about.
I mean, I guess Tony Khan is a living, breathing actualization of Florida man.
Um,
And if you don't know what the Florida man meme is, Look it up.
Alright. One, well, we'll stand end on a positive note, but, on talking about that business, Malakai Black, um, had a lengthy statement claiming, kind of busting all the rumors of what was going on between him and AEW. He is no longer a part of AEW. According to him, there are no it wasn't a conditional release. Um, I'll just summarize some of the things he said. He basically said that he didn't appreciate that it got leaked out that the conversations him and Tony had, um, and that it got leaked out his personal struggles and issues were in the media, and that anything that did come out wasn't true unless it came from him. He's kind of recalibrating and reevaluating things at this moment. You could definitely go onto his social media and find the post and read all of that. But basically, he was saying that on top of all, the personal issues he's had, um, AEW promised him things that did not come to fruition, and that kind of demoralized him further with the company, which obviously led to his release. I'm not sure if you saw the post that he made, but what are your thoughts on Malakai's? I want to say it's disgruntled because it didn't seem like he was disgruntled, but kind of calling AEW out and saying, there could have been something here and you dropped the ball.
I think he's got every right to say that. I believe it also got out that he was one of the superstars, in Tampergate.
Yeah, because AEW definitely doesn't tackle with the WWE contract. That's just an asshole would do that, right?
By the way, I think Tony Khan might be buying the Bucks, and not the Young Bucks. He's already bought them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and renaming them the Tampa Bay Tamperers. Um,
That's gonna be expensive. They want a Super Bowl.
I mean, with CM Punk as their new quarterback.
That's the only sport he hasn't filled in yet.
Yeah, go look at his childhood. I I think I would call him uh, disgruntled because his issues compared to everything that was going on at the same time. Not to reduce his issues to something menial, but there were bigger things in wrestling going on. This did not need to get leaked. I believe it was leaked on purpose, clearly.
Whether it was
Um,
from AEW or not, that still seemed to be seen.
I mean, it wouldn't put it past me if somebody told Tony, "Oh, yeah, reverse psychology his ass. Leak this stuff and put the blame on somebody else, and he'll want to stay."
Well,
Um,
that's disgusting because he did have personal issues, and to put that out in the media, it's not your, it's nobody's place to say except them.
Yeah. And then there's the part of me that thinks Tony thinks Malakai is lying to him. And I have the scenario in my head where Tony's like, okay, you gotta bring me a doctor's note telling me you're depressed.
At this point,
And
I don't
and,
quite
and then
understand.
I would proceed to, if that was me, I would proceed to hang Tony and then hang myself. But
I don't believe Hangman Page was anywhere near the team or had anything to do with it.
gossip is a a huge problem in this business. But then again, almost everybody knows everybody else.
Right.
So, talking to whether I'm really having a hard time rationalizing this.
Let's talk about, the untapped potential. Because he had, what, 3 wins? This time last year, he was in Arthur S. beating Cody Rhodes for the second time. If you told me back then that he wouldn't be here in another year, I would definitely say you're insane. This guy is going to be champion in the next 6 months. He's going to be the guy that beats Adam Page. But none of that happened. And everything that he did fell to the wayside because they were more glamorized by Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and CM Punk. And I really feel like, you know, it's, oh, I got these new toys, I'm going to pay attention to these ones, rather than the guy that could have been the face of, well, not the face of the company, but be that guy you needed him to be for many years to come. And, I mean, instead we got CM Punk, and God knows he might not even be here anymore.
He won't. He is done. Um, I think Tony was looking for an Undertaker in Malakai Black.
Well, he didn't allow him to be him. I mean, fighting the Lucha Bros and Dante Martin and losing to Alex Reynolds. I know he's your friend, but I mean, honestly, that's not going to get you the promised land, Speedo.
Nope, nope, it's not. And again, Tony is a guy about immediate gratification and no payoff, and that just and Grand Slam only proves my point further. But
Well, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Um, but this is, I personally, I feel like this is cutting your nose off to spite your face. Because, yeah, you got CM Punk and you got that cash grab, but you lost a substantial amount of people that could have really been a part of your company and really build the brand. And like I said, CM Punk is looking to buy out his contract. though he doesn't have to work at AEW anymore. A wimple, not a bang, correct?
Mm, yep. Uh, caveat emptor, buyer's remorse to the nth degree.
Okay, so
Uh,
what did having CM Punk cost AEW? I'll tell
I'm,
you.
assu-
Continue.
I'm assuming Punk asked for a new, in addition to a few million.
Oh no, I'm not
Um,
talking about actual money. I'm talking in locker room morale, the company, the ticket sales, everything that all the repercussions that having CM Punk there caused.
because, and I kind of knew it would backfire if Punk would ever return to anywhere but WWE. But the the effect of him being missed by wrestling fans,
Right,
especially considering how he left in 2014,
right,
was enough to make them forget who Phil Brooks really is as a person.
correct. Um, I mean, if you're a wrestling company and CM Punk is available, do you really chance that? Because, okay, if it was WWE, okay, people have their issues with WWE. They mistreated him. Everything that he said was right about them. They're bastards, yada yada yada. Well, AEW was the real engine that could. And he really Hollywood Hogan that place.
Yeah, I mean, he actually did, and let us all remember that Punk technically did return to work in a WWE setting. It was just under the employment of a network and not the WWE directly. Um,
Right.
so CM Punk wants you to believe he's a man of scruples when the man will throw anyone he can under the bus just to get one more minute added to his 15.
Ooh. Well, I mean, the damage that he's done at this point is Cody Rhodes is no longer part of AEW, who was one of the founders of the place. Um, MJF got millions more dollars because he was disgruntled because of CM Punk, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Malakai Black. Um, we still have no idea what's going to happen with the Bucks and Kenny. Um, am I missing anybody here?
Um, highlighting the concept that
Oh, Colt
bringing
Cabana,
in,
obviously.
uh, I mean, believe me, do not approach him on Twitch with anything Punk related. You will get banned immediately.
Really?
Yep. Um, but his mother will lend you money.
Um,
um, um, the idea that Jody Cobb can bring in people from these guys' pasts, and we're automatically supposed to know who they are. Ace fucking Steel. How many people knew who Ace Steel was
before he bit,
before?
before he
Yeah,
bit, before he bit Kenny Omega.
before he did that motivational speech, that really wasn't that motivating.
No, yeah,
He just yelled a lot.
and he slapped him.
Like,
Oh, he definitely cost Ace Steel his job.
I mean, you don't you don't make a guy lose the match because of a supposed injury, and then the next week somebody comes out, says abracadabra, and, and everything is all right. Especially when it looked like Punk was going to be humble.
Yeah, you can't say
With,
abracadabra unless you're Chris Jericho, because he
yeah,
was with him.
we'll get into Chris Jericho and why I think he's an absolute genius. After Grand Slam. But CM Punk and Humble are two. You will not find Humble in the dictionary of CM Punk ever.
Andy Samberg made a song called Humble. I think CM Punk should come out to that song.
I mean, sit down, Punk. Be humble.
Do you not know that song?
What, Kendrick Lamar?
No, the Andy Samberg "I'm So Humble" song.
I'm a huge Lonely Island fan, and I have never heard it.
Okay, well, if anybody that hasn't heard it, Google it.
I mean, I can imagine, CM Punk being the guy who sings like a boss.
Well,
Where he talks about sucking his own dick and uh, turning into a jet and chopping his balls off. Uh,
what the fuck what the fuck are you listening to?
Same Andy Samberg.
I never heard that one.
See, that's the difference. That's the difference between Andy Samberg and Andy Samberg with the Lonely Island.
But we're so getting off topic here. MJF obviously came back, and apparently he's getting paid millions of dollars like per year with no contract extension. Um, obviously that's what he said, and he's living the gimmick. So you can't really take what he says as what it actually is. Do you believe that's what his contract is? Do you feel like
Um,
something happened, or was it all a war?
I he got a raise. Know that for sure. If we are to believe him, his contract ends January 1st, 2024, which should tell you right there that it's a work. Because the contract would end on December 31st. if you're really thinking about it.
At 12 o'clock, at midnight.
If whether he's making 1 million per year, well, I mean, we're seeing MJF's best work. I mean, God, I mean, I I'm I accept that I am the second best Jewish thing associated with wrestling, uh, behind MJF. I mean, when the man says he's better than Moses, well, people remember Moses never talked, so he's got him beat. Um,
Moses was 495 on the PWI top 500 list. For anybody that don't know.
while Abraham and Methuselah just didn't make the cut.
They're just not at the deal for those guys.
MJF is putting in the work. I think if anybody knows the spot that AEW is in better than anybody, it's him.
True.
And and MJF, despite what we think or not, is a smart negotiator.
Is he a smart
And
negotiator, or does he just have Tony Khan's back at a wall? Because obviously Punk's not going to be there, the Elite isn't going to be there, and, John Moxley has only so many people he could wrestle.
well, you gotta remember that this contract, was given, the day of All Out. So him resigning technically precedes everything that happened, but MJF knows when to keep his nose clean.
Does it make Tony Khan kind of look like a chump that he gave in to all of MJF's demands, so to speak? That, MJF threw a fit and wanted more money, and he told them no, but now he has to backtrack and say okay.
Um, Now it proves that wrestling is only a popularity contest to Tony Khan.
So if you're popular with the fans, you get more money. But if you're not, then you could have your contract tampered with.
Basically, but you have to also understand that Tony has his own scale of popularity.
Right.
You know, Punk had the cult of personality. Tony's got the cult of popularity.
Yeah, not wrong about that. That being said, it's being said that WWE didn't reach out to one person, but several people from AEW, and a lot of AEW talent are asking for their release so they could go to WWE. Who do you see being on that list, and do you see them getting those releases? Their
Now,
release.
Bobby Fish released a number of months back. He wants he's I don't know if you could say begging, but he's insisting that to Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole that they ask for their releases.
I could see Kyle doing it if WWE has something significant for them, but Adam Cole, I see whether or not he's happy there, he'll wait out the contract. He'll wait until it renews. Well, it expires.
I mean, do you think that him being the Owen Hart Cup winner will have anything to factor in whether he stays or not?
No, not at all. The only thing that would make him stay is the friendship with the Bucks. And if the Bucks aren't there, what makes you think he's going to stay there? You know, Brett has a contract too, and if Triple H says, I'll bring her too, you think he'll say no to that?
No, I don't. I don't think. I don't think. I don't think he would say no. I mean,
Alan's not going back to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
I mean, if there's any female who can call themselves a truly accomplished AEW star, it's Britt Baker.
I don't even think MJF could say that at this point.
Oh, just get me a pair of scissors and he can.
Especially on the women's side.
I mean, Britt Baker in WWE is almost a natural progression and a given. If Cole goes, the question is, even if Cole doesn't want to ask, what if Britt does?
Well, I mean, Britt is probably the only female being featured at this point, and they have two freaking champions. And it's the Britt Baker show.
Yeah. And the other champion is somehow getting sloppier with each match.
Well, I mean, they don't let her wrestle. I mean, you're supposed to get better with the matches. You're supposed to have more matches to progress, and she's not having matches. She may be wrestled once a month at best.
I mean, pretty soon it's going to be that bitch show up. That's about it.
I mean, that's kind of how it is right now.
I mean,
all I know is if they want to keep Keith Lee, they need to put him in the title picture right fucking now.
Yeah.
He needs to by the end of the year, Keith Lee has to be announced as the next challenger for Moxley.
That's not gonna happen.
And I think they're gonna be losing Keith Lee.
I think probably if Lee isn't disillusioned with the business, then he has a clear career possibility in Japan.
That's why I thought he was gonna go before he went to AEW.
I mean, I'm sure he never wants to hear, "Oh, scissor me, daddy."
You know, say what you will about Swerve Scott, he read the room and knew that he was the bad guy in the match, while Keith Lee didn't.
Yeah. And again, that's the other thing. Why did Swerve and Lee need to be a team to begin with?
Because they had nothing for two incredible talent, so they just put them together into a tag team. Because CM Punk wanted the main title.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, I could see Swerve going back to WWE.
I mean, if AEW is smart, which they're not, they can make a really big star out of Swerve Scott.
I
But
mean, because pretty soon we're going to be playing the game Carmelo Hayes or Swerve.
I think I was gonna say
But
Carmelo Hayes is better, but then
I mean,
again, Swerve's really
yeah,
good.
Carmelo is getting better. He absolutely is.
I would
And
make the argument he's been really great for a really long time. Just people are
yeah,
starting to notice
yeah,
now.
and that's the thing. I think Swerve goes and we get. I mean, a Carmelo Swerve. I mean, not a Swerve by Carmelo, but Carmelo versus Swerve.
That just sounds delicious to me. They're coming soon to Baskin Robbins.
Try our new Carmelo Swerve, filled with tricks. Bask in its glory. I mean,
Baskin Robbins glory.
Baskin Robbins glory. I mean, next week Keith Lee is gonna come out in a blonde wig. It's gonna be Carol Baskin, his glory.
Oh, you're just reaching.
Oh, come on! I've done the Carol Baskin his glory joke many times before. It's still funny. I mean, and who thought Swerve in Our Glory was a good team name?
Tony Khan.
You know, honestly, I think Yoshihashi could be a better promoter than Tony Khan. So, you know what? Fuck Tony Khan!
You know, I think we might agree on that.
Um, but, uh, um,
You were
oh
saying
shit.
that you thought Chris Jericho is a genius.
Yes. James, can we pause here?
So Chris Jericho being the
Yes.
what?
Um, as we all know, Chris Jericho is now the Ring of Honor World Champion,
What?
which makes him, I think, truly the real Grand Slam champion in terms of world titles.
Does it?
WWE, WCW, even though he held it while in WWE. Um, oh no, he was never ECW champion.
No.
But AEW and Ring of Honor. But everybody, or at least wrestling fans, are upset that he didn't stick to the code of honor.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, though. you have to understand that Chris Jericho has been wrestling for over 30 years.
Longer than Ring of Honor was in business.
Exactly. So, when people say Chris Jericho looks down on Ring of Honor, it's because he didn't have a, you know, the independents were not really an idea until Ring of Honor came along. So Jericho looking down and like, I never needed Ring of Honor to get where I am. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But, I was having a discussion with another friend about this. And again, people don't realize how close Chris Jericho actually came to being a part of the WWF in 1994.
I never heard that.
Back when they still had the association with Smoky Mountain.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And, and there's some lost footage of, I believe, Randy Savage teaming with Chris Jericho and Lance Storm. But they were on the same Smoky Mountain card in 1994. That leads me to my point. Now, when you have a heel like Chris Jericho and something like the Code of Honor, which is not mandatory, of course he's going to do the heel thing and hate on it. It's typical Jericho. Ring of Honor represents something that Jericho despises. Fans who think they know the business. Smart marks. If you really think about it, Jericho is still trying to keep kayfabe, even after 30 years.
Yeah.
So by breaking the code, he actually reminds the wrestling world that the code even still exists, and gives the code a little bit more meaning than it had before, and now it becomes a saga of defending that honor by searching for the man who takes him down to uphold it. It's an unorthodox story for sure, but it's a classic villain story.
I mean, who was he in 2007? The Code Breaker.
Exactly. So, for people like, well, he didn't uphold, the Ring of Honor traditions. Screw you! Jericho has bigger traditions.
Being Chris Jericho is a tradition.
I mean, and I should know, as once again I will say, we were born in the same hospital.
like you had a conversation about it. I had a conversation about it as well. And just think about this. When right before Ring of Honor became a thing, where was Chris Jericho? Chris Jericho was in WWE as the first ever the first ever undisputed champion. Well, there was no ECW, WCW, Ring of Honor wasn't a thing, TNA wasn't a thing, New Japan wasn't what it is now, and today it is today now. He was legitimately, there was no disputing. Chris Jericho was the champion when Ring of Honor wasn't even a thing in its infancy. So, I mean, Chris Jericho could do whatever the hell he wants when he was the first ever undisputed champion when Ring of Honor wasn't even a thing at that point.
And this is why Chris Jericho will probably go down in wrestling history as the greatest performer of all time from through the eyes of what traditional pro wrestling is.
Because there's not a lot of traditional wrestling in AEW.
And on top of the fact that he's playing up the whole sports entertainer versus wrestler thing,
Yeah.
it shows you just how much of a wrestler Jericho actually is. It's honestly it's brilliant, and that's Chris Jericho. Tony Khan has nothing to do with this.
No, absolutely not. And Chris Jericho, he said that he didn't want to be a vice president. And that might have been the smartest thing he ever said. Because I mean, just being Chris Jericho, obviously gives you some respect. Maybe more respect than being a vice president.
I mean, I thought Jericho was given VP status.
He was offered, but he didn't take it.
Okay. So, again, not necessarily news, but I just think it's a testament to really what pro wrestling is in Chris Jericho in his attempts to be an asshole. It proves how great he is. It's I feel there's some sort of mathematical theorem for this. Like how there's a gene in human DNA that's called the Sonic the Hedgehog gene.
Sure.
For no, there's no reason. It's just the person who discovered it decided to call it Sonic the Hedgehog. The Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic Hedgehog gene rather. There's got to be a thing called the Jericho theory, where proving how much people hate you proves how good you are, or the relation between being an asshole and proving your worth. There's got to be a term for it, but that's on Wrestling with Physics.
Yes. Not associated with wrestling entertainment. Alright. Last bit of news before we get the fuck out of here. Soraya has become all elite. For anybody that don't know who Soraya is, WWE Paige is now all elite. She broke up a beatdown of Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Serena Deeb attacking Athena and Toni Storm. There was no physicality when Paige came into the ring. All the heels got out. Obviously you were there, Scooter. It was a cool moment.
Yes.
But yeah,
I will say this. Her face finally looks like it went back to normal. She looks so good.
and I have kind of mixed feelings about it because obviously I love Paige. She was she got me into Divas wrestling when nothing else would get me into Divas wrestling. Um, and I'm happy to see her, but then yet again, I don't want you know I want to be happy to see her. I don't want anything bad to happen coming back. But it doesn't seem like there's a physicality level to her contract signing with AEW. But what say you, Scooter?
If if there is physicality expected of her, and she's not really medically cleared, I pray to God Tony doesn't try to exploit her wanting to get back into the ring.
Well, I mean, he exploited Sting and Bryan Danielson, so what makes you think he wouldn't exploit her?
Mm, because she's a woman and she unfortunately feels like she has to prove she's twice what a man is worth. And coming from the family she comes from,
Right.
she has to prove she's even better.
I mean, she already proved that she's one of the all-time greats, even though, you know, her own issues have gotten the better of her in the past. Um, if she's medically cleared, and if she gets it back in the ring, is that the best? Is that such the best thing? Because I said this with Edge, I said this with Sting. Obviously, they've proven me wrong, but I'm always at the point of you know, if your body's telling you no, then you should probably just say no.
Yep. Um, I mean, I'm hoping she's smart enough to not take any unnecessary risks.
Right.
So, but to kind of close this out with a joke, uh, if the Jacksonville Jaguars win a Super Bowl, do you think Triple H will send them a WWE Championship?
Uh,
No, I'll tell you what he'll send.
so
He'll send them the NXT Divas Championship. And not, and we all know the one we're thinking of.
and that will conclude this episode of Wrestling for Entertainment. If
The
you
one
like
covered in jizz!
if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, vote on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this is sponsored by Local Energy and Cold Coffee. Join us this Wednesday as we interview Son of Iris. Um, Follow Wrestling With on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestling With E. On Twitter, you know, you get news on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and etc. etc. You can follow me at JamesJ993. You can follow Khalifa at I am Khalifa on both of Fine Studio.
As always, you can find me on my stand-up comedy tour, live from Camp Lejeune. Free water with admission. And of course, follow me on Twitter at Scooter Dust. Find me, James, and Ryan Dust hosting the Remix on YouTube, a premium audio companion experience for all your alternate commentary needs for WWE Premium Live events. Next time we come to you live October the 8th with Extreme Rules, and on October 11th, Cordicus Tarkin embarks on his very first battle of piracy as I make my Dungeons & Dragons debut along with Rico Constantino Jr. over on the Smoking Dragons channel, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
For Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James Shane. This has been Wrestling With Entertainment.
Save Cordicus.
Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.